Tracy. I'm a certified trauma coach, and I teach people how to recover from trauma and abuse, regulate their nervous system, reclaim their authentic selves, and if you're a parent, learn how to parent from peace with a trauma history. So, what do you do when you love somebody who has a trauma and abuse history? How do you support them? Well, I can tell you the most unhelpful thing you can do is tell them, if you need help, just ask. Because I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We don't ask for help. Unfortunately, when people have had trauma and abuse, especially childhood abuse or relationship abuse, we have been conditioned to expect nothing from no one. We have been conditioned to expect to handle it ourselves, to expect disappointment, to be told that someone's going to do something and then they don't do it. So we struggle with asking for help. Is that something we need to learn to do? Absolutely. But it doesn't happen overnight. It takes establishing who our safe people are and creating that safety net around us. And then it takes reliable, consistent behaviors from those safe people for us to learn that we can depend on them. We need to consistently see that what our safe people are saying they mean, that when they say they're going to do something, they do it, that they show up for us consistently over and over and over again. And in time, it becomes easier for us to learn to ask for help. So when you see somebody that you love that has trauma and abuse struggling, you see that they're overwhelmed. You can see that they're overstimulated. You can see that they're struggling to regulate themselves, or they've gotten to a point where their skills are failing them at the moment and they are not regulating. Don't wait for them to ask you for help. Step in. Without judgment, without criticism, without frustration, without making them feel inadequate, without highlighting the fact that they are dysregulated. Step in and help them. And sometimes even asking, what do you need help with right now, is a question that they're not going to be able to answer if they're already dysregulated. Because when executive reasoning is overwhelmed, sometimes even the act of figuring out, okay, well, I'm doing X, Y, Z, I really need you to take X off my hands, is sometimes too much for us to process and communicate to you. So this is where you, as the support person, as a safe person, needs to kind of assess the situation. If the person's, been watching their kids all day and you're their partner and you see that they're overstimulated, instead of asking what they need, just come in and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to play with the kids for a little bit. Why don't you go relax? Why don't you go get a cup of coffee and just chill out for a little bit? If you see that the person is trying to cook dinner and do dishes and you can just tell that they are overwhelmed, step in and do the dishes. Without them asking, just step in and start doing the dishes. Or take over cooking dinner. The point is to be that support for them until they learn, number one, how to communicate their needs more effectively, because that is part of our healing journey, is learning, number one, to recognize what our needs are and that our needs are valid and that we are worth being helped, and learning to communicate those needs without fear. And until we are comfortable enough to ask for help, and we get comfortable asking for help when we see you show up for us. I use the analogy of having a broken leg and needing crutches. When you get a broken leg, the goal of crutches is to support you until you are strong enough to walk on your own. And when somebody has a trauma and abuse history, if you are one of their safe people, we lean on you because we need the support right now until we are strong enough to walk on our own. We're not going to depend on you forever. We are actively healing and getting stronger every single day, and we are learning the skills that unfortunately we didn't get taught to us when we were growing up. A lot of us have abusive childhoods that then turned into abusive relationships, and we never had the chance to get our bearings straight and know how to communicate our needs or ask for help or to manage our emotions or regulate our nervous system. So we're learning now in adulthood what we didn't get to learn as children or young adults. And it's going to take time, but the goal is to not have to lean on you as the healing progresses. So caregiver burnout is real, and people who are in the lives of somebody with a trauma and abuse history that are actively trying to help them on their healing journey, it can be a lot. So make sure as a support person you have the supports you need and the education you need to be there for the person that you love. If you go to my website, integrativecoaching.graphy.com, I'll put the link in the comments. I do have a course for people who are trying to support somebody with a trauma and abuse history. I also have a course for parents who have children who have gone through the trauma with them, and it talks about how to support your children through their trauma recovery. So if any of that interests you, please visit my website. And as always, please follow, like, and share so we can help others by sharing the education and support.